Hey there, everybody. Here we are, Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Happy, third week of September. Happy, so this week, our intention, I don't know if you've seen it yet or not, release the intention every Sunday. So here's our intention for the week. I balance and find equilibrium. Hey there, everybody. Everybody dropping in the comments and saying hi. It's nice to see all of you here. I really appreciate those of you that come back week after week and are always here, and those of you that show up just when you can and watch the replays and be a part of what we have going on here. It just strengthens the energy, and it strengthens, stronger in numbers, right? So every time somebody participates in this, whether it's right now or in the future, it brings energy to this and to the meditation that we're doing, and it helps everybody. I know that's sometimes a hard thing to understand, but it really seems to prove true over and over. So this week we have the fall equinox. That's on Saturday. That's part of our intention here. I balance and find equilibrium. Every Sunday the intention is released on all the social media pages, Facebook page, Instagram page, the YouTube community tab on the YouTube channel, on the Meditative Astrology website. You can find the intention on all of those places, and I put it out a couple days before we meet here on Tuesday because I want you to sit with it yourself and see what comes up. The energies that inspire this intention and the interactions and the what's in the air, what's around us, what's surrounding and supporting all of us, it's there before we come and meet here and before we talk about it. So I think if you take the intention and you sit with it yourself, I think something is going to come through the energies that are supporting the intention that are around us, that's going to come through you, maybe a little bit differently than something that I'm going to portray and that what I'm going to say. So sitting with yourself, seeing what comes up yourself, seeing what you can come up with, altering the intention, changing it to however works well for you. It's just the intention is just kind of a framework and a starting base. So totally encourage you to change it yourself. And go ahead and alter it as much as you need to. So this week, when I was looking at the looking at what's going on, we have the fall equinox on Saturday. That's at 2:50 a.m. Eastern time. So you have to translate that to your own time zone if you live somewhere other than where I do. But this Saturday, in the middle of the night, wee hours in the morning, somewhere in there, we have the fall equinox. The fall equinox is the point when the sun reaches 0 degrees of Libra. And when it reaches that point, it's more commonly known as the time where there is equal light and equal day. So that day, there's equal amounts of light and darkness. There's a symbolism to the solstices and to the equinoxes. My first introduction to, I have long looked at and I guess lived a symbolic life. I grew up both in the Catholic Church and with metaphysical views. I grew up with two totally separate traditions, but both of them very, very impactful, very positively impactful, both of them on me. And within the spiritualism of metaphysics and looking at the symbolism of different things and symbolic meanings out of normal mundane happenings, just the things that happen within day-to-day life, I've always found resonance in looking at connections to something mundane that happens in the physical within daily life or within you know, just the rotations of Earth and the seasons like we're talking here, or, you know, symbolism of, say, you know, a animal or a bird or something crossing your path, or a sign of some kind, definitely fall into the signs and symbolism viewpoint for lots of things myself, and that's pretty deeply rooted in my life, I guess. So my first introduction to the equinoxes and the solstices was not necessarily from an astrological standpoint. It was from the spiritualism of the metaphysics that I was teaching, and that resonated really, really deep within my heart. So looking at this time of year as a period of balance, looking at this time, and this was before I was super in, quite a bit before I was really into astrology, or looking at astrology often, I should say. Thinking about the balance and the changing from the light half of the year moving into the dark half of the year. The light half of the year being more extroverted and more action oriented, more collective oriented, where now moving into the darker half of the year, going into the darker half of the year, going into the more reflective half of the year, the more inner half of the year. And being that I live within the northern hemisphere, it seemed that the seasons and with the weather is lined up quite well with that. And then then astrology came into my life, and I learned about the connections of the equinoxes and the solstices, and their connection to these different astrological points, being the fall equinox at 0 degrees Libra, the winter solstice at 0 degrees Capricorn, the spring equinox at 0 Aries, and then the summer solstice at 0 degrees Cancer. And when I looked at these correlations to the seasons, that was already previously instilled within me, and just felt right within the, you know, not only the seasons of the calendar year and just of Earth's scientific, you know, physical rotation, but just the general cycles of life. Yeah, it was very, I guess kind of early on, I don't know how old, but I reflected early on about, you know, just kind of the cycles of life and the different periods. You know, sometimes we are active more, sometimes we are more reserved and, you know, more calm or less active. Sometimes we are more extroverted, sometimes we are more introverted, and it seems to just kind of follow a rhythm. Our bodies follow a rhythm. We follow the circadian rhythm every day with our bodies of wake-sleep cycles, other patterns and habits. So this idea of balance and just this idea of turning the wheel and connecting these two, for me, this is just a personal experience that I'm sharing. For me, connecting those two, yeah, it was really, really eye-opening, and it was really kind of like this is an extension of what I've already been introduced to and what has already, you know, like been instilled and resonated so deeply within my own heart, with my own beating. So, yeah, that's my own little personal story there, that I have a hard time not sharing. But the idea with coming into the equinox time, the time of the balance, the time of equal light and day, is we're going to start to move from the light half of the year into the dark half of the year. That's a shifting point within the astrological calendar, within the you know, annual calendar that we follow, with a shift within seasons. It's a shift. And then, you know, we also have another shift coming. We have our first eclipse within the Aries and Libra axis, We talked earlier in the spring about the nodes shifting from the Taurus-Scorpio axis to the Aries-Libra axis. And our first eclipse within this set of eclipses is going to be happening here in the middle of October, October 14th. So these theme changes that we talked about earlier in the spring, they're either going to start to be coming up or they're going to already start to come up. I've already kind of seen them coming up with lots of different people where they're kind of starting to creep in. So different changes and things like that. It's another shift. It's another shift that's coming here. So with these shifts that we have, it just felt like finding balance, finding equal balance, finding equilibrium. It feels like, I don't know, it kind of feels like an in-between time as we're starting to build up steam, building up momentum towards these shifts that we have coming. Maybe it's a good idea to find some balance and to try to find some equilibrium. Also, moving into Libra season on Saturday. So that is that is the sign of balance. That is the sign of the scales of justice. So it is about finding balance and finding equality and leveling things out and keeping things at the status quo and making and defining that status quo as well. So with these balances, or with these changes and coming into the season that is looking to find balance, it just feels like this is a good time to kind of have these ideas within us and thinking about what we do to bring balance. I sometimes think that we often hyper-focus on one thing or another, whatever that may be. So maybe one week we super focus on making sure we take care of ourselves and we do little self-care things. Another week we might be super hyper-focused on being productive. And while there are different periods where we need to focus on those things more intently for one reason or another, it kind of, I don't know, it seems like we often focus a lot on one thing or another, and then we kind of lose track of that balance and finding that equilibrium and trying to stay in the middle rather than drifting off to one extreme or the other. So this idea and this feeling of balance and trying to find equilibrium and trying to find a middle ground seems like it's coming up here for me. And then we have opposition with Sun and Neptune, exact today. We talked about this last week with the new moon a little bit, mentioned that because it was kind of a part, we talked about how it was baked into this lunar cycle that we're in that started with the new moon. So this is the exact conjunction of that aspect that we talked about last week. So we have Sun in Virgo opposing Neptune in the sign of Pisces today. And when I was already kind of thinking about balance and equalizing things and whatnot, I was thinking it's interesting that we have an opposition here. Oppositions, opposite ends of the chart, so they're sitting, straight across from each other, staring each other down, or kind of in a standoff sometimes it seems. I see oppositions as something that as aspects that generally challenge us to find balance. And they challenge us to find balance through their polarization, because oppositions, it's kind of like a magnet. Either opposites can attract and pull together, or if you turn the magnets around, they will repel from each other. So oppositions have the ability to do both, and they have the ability to move us back and forth between pulling towards something and repelling against something at different points in our life. So I find it interesting, and I think that the nature of the opposition challenges us to find balance and to equalize something and not go to one extreme or the other in itself. Neptune has the dissolving or unraveling quality to it, but it also has a quality of connection to it as well. Neptune, we've talked about how it's kind of hard to grasp because of how foggy Neptune can be. But Neptune is a planet that in the end it immerses you in something. So that immersion, whether that is going to connect you deeply to something, like a spiritual connection, whether that's to spirit, to the divine, or a spiritual connection to something else. But it also has the can also immerse us in something that maybe isn't so positive, it isn't so negative, is more negative. That's where you get the like the addict idea from Neptune. Very much applicable here. Or something that, we can't quite get enough of, or something like that. It's the way that Neptune totally immerses you and just over floods you with something. So in that, Neptune challenges us in its own right to find balance. Neptune, in a way, unbalances things and either moves us directly towards something or directly away from something. It's not so much being stuck in the middle, unless it's that you're in the middle because you're kind of stuck in that like Neptunian fog and not really sure which way you're going. But I see lots of themes. See where all these little themes of like balance and equalizing and finding equilibrium. Equilibrium is finding a state of balance. I just see it coming up over and over. So opposition to the sun, strength, power, purpose, balance. And, again, the sun is, let's see, we're at 26 degrees. So we're 4 degrees away from that fall equinox point, from that point of equilibrium and of balance. But the sun is approaching that position of fall balance, and that approaching that point of being in between light and being in between dark. So seeing lots of these themes of balance and whatnot here. So that's where I got the intention from. That's what I was thinking behind it. Neptune, oppositions, the equinox, all of these different parts together, I feel like in different ways are calling us to find balance of some kind here. So I don't know. I really, really love the fall equinox. I don't know if it's because my moon is at 1 degree Libra and the sun's coming up to my moon here or what, but I also really love fall. Here we're coming into fall, and I love fall weather. I love all of the seasons personally. And with each season change, or mostly specifically within the equinoxes, within the 0 Aries point and the 0 Libra point, you're going from in the northern hemisphere, you're going from either dark dominant to light dominant, or it would be one way or the other. You're going, whether you're in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, you're going from one being dominant to the other being dominant, whether it's light to dark or dark to light. And I think there is, there's a relief within those two changing points, whichever one you're at. Although a lot of us are like super sad to see summer go, there's a relief that comes in with the cool fall air. Even if it's not your favorite, you don't absolutely love it, there's a little relief that comes in from the summer heat, from the exhaustion of late August, and you have late summer storms in some areas. So there's a little bit of while the air is getting colder and crisper and cooler and things are changing, things are slowly dying and getting ready to go into rest, there's a little bit of a relief there. And then if you're at the other point where you're going from winter into spring, there's totally a relief there because you're coming out of winter and you're going into spring. So things are coming back alive again. So I don't know. I can see the beauty in both, and I feel like that plays into the balance too. Yeah. So that's that. That's my rambling that I have here. Looking at the comments, thank you everybody for coming in and saying hi. Let's see, Melissa, I feel like I'm going into a cocoon. Feel like I need to go within a lot, hibernate until spring. Yeah, so we're going into, it's exactly what we're talking about here, going into the dark half of the year and the symbolism of, the earth going into rest mode. Her creatures need to go into rest mode too. So go ahead and do what you need to do to find that balance, to find that equilibrium. And yeah, I'm just going to say it. The summer's been a lot for everybody. So there's not too many people, that's not meaning that it was necessarily bad, but summer was a lot. A lot of people have had super shit shows going on with Venus retrograde. So yeah, there's been a lot going on. So it's okay to admit that, and it's okay to need to find balance, and it's okay to need to find equilibrium. So that's what we're going to do here tonight. And then we're going to take it through with us for the rest of the week. So find your nice comfortable position as we get ready to light our intentional candle. As always, using a white candle because it's universal and it's a color of clarity and purity and amplification. These are still those super awesome sage oil candles that I found off the Etsy shop. I have made shout outs to that page several times. I think it was Stone Sanctuary was the name of the shop or something like that. Candles are amazing, absolutely amazing. So as we think about balance and as we think about how we can find our own equilibrium, and as I'm jabbering on about all of the astrological pieces of it, hopefully you are starting to think about ways that you need balance in your life and the ways that you do provide balance in your life. Because while we're looking at the things we should be doing a little better, it's good to look at the things we're doing good too, right? So that way you can not feel like you're just hammering yourself so much there. So as we light the intentional candle, and as you repeat the intention to yourself, or out loud or in your head or whatever feels right, we're going inward here very much so this week. So whatever feels right to you, think of those ways that you provide balance and that you provide equilibrium, and those ways that you could provide better balance to yourself. So I'm going to light our candle, and the flame catches, and it instantly starts to grow. And as the flame on the candle grows, so does our intention, right? I balance and find equilibrium. I balance and find my own equilibrium. Balance myself, and equilibrium flows. Whatever works best for you, whatever words resonate within your being, bring those close to you and sit with that for just a moment. Sit with the words of our intention And just see what comes up. See how that feels. What does it make you think of? And then moving your focus from the words of the intention to your own body, into your own energy that you arrived to this practice with today. Where does your level of energy sit right at this very moment? Be honest and truthful with yourself. While making space for the level of energy that your body, that your vessel contains right now, I invite you to take a nice deep breath in. And as you take that breath in, and as the air enters your body, it moves down your throat into your lungs, you feel a sense of balance. You feel a sense of relaxation and a sense of peace washing over you for just a moment. Once you have brought all the air that you possibly can into your being, into your lungs, you hold that breath for just a second, if your body allows. And for that moment, you feel full, content, and satisfied. And you feel supported by not only your own body and your own breath, but by the universe around you. As you start to release your breath ever so slowly, not rushing the air that is slowly releasing itself from your body. You ever so slowly relax and soften. Perhaps your shoulders roll forward. Maybe your head leans forward in relaxation. As you completely release into the exhale, letting go of the air in your lungs, as well as stress, tension, and blockages that your body is holding on to. And in the exhale, you feel fulfilled, supported, cared for, and loved. It is within the cycles of the inhale and the exhale that we are able to restore balance within our bodies in a multitude of ways. So I invite you now to continue the process of inhaling air into your lungs and exhaling air from your body. Ever so slowly, following your own rhythm, your own motion. There is connection, love, support, and balance within both the inhale and the exhale. Following your own rhythm, your own alternation of breath in and breath out brings you closer to your own balance and your own equilibrium. Anytime you are able to connect to your breath, anytime you can focus on breathing in and out, you have an opportunity to bring, even if it's just a small amount, to bring balance and restore your personal equilibrium. as the sun sits in opposition to Neptune, to solve any blockages between you and your full breath. Identify, if possible, what does not serve you well. What can you release? What can you dissolve your grip on? And where can you release something that may have a grip on you? And as the sun sits in opposition to Neptune, the planet of divine spiritual connection, the planet of otherworldly connection and love, illuminated by the sun, strengthening your connection to the energies around you, bringing you in tune with the synchronicities, allowing you to recognize the signs and the symbols, the communications from spirit, from our soul, and from the Creator. Immersing you fully in the love of creation, the love that comes with the connection to all, the connection to every being in existence. Infinite and unwavering love and support that surrounds each and every one of us at all times feels a little bit closer right now, inching in ever so slowly, guiding us and loving us. And as the sun moves through the last few degrees of Virgo, moving towards that point of equilibrium, that point of balance, that point of intellect and justice, that point of leveling. Standing smack dab between a Mercury ruled sign and a Venus ruled sign. Quick, swift, changing Mercury, and flowy, enjoying Venus. Standing between the ultimate light and ultimate dark. You look in one direction, you are immersed totally in light. And you look the other direction, and you are immersed in total darkness, total reflection. But then you look straight forward, and in front of you, you see a point where the lightest of the light and the darkest of the dark start to blend together. And as they twist and combine and mold together, you see a balance of the two. A balance of light and dark. A balance of inward and outward. A balance of masculine and feminine. A balance of fast and slow. A balance of movement and stagnation, and an equilibrium in the flow of life. shifts and changes are coming. Our course may be altered or derailed in the future. We may find exactly what we think we're looking for, or we may find something that we never, ever expected. But in this moment, in this practice, and in this space you have made for yourself, you find a moment in a place of balance. You found a place of equal light and dark, where all parts of yourself are loved and cared for. Balance that allows you to amplify the parts of you that deserve amplification. And balance that allows you to bring ease and quietness to those parts of you that you wish would be a little more subtle. Tending to your own fire that burns within your heart. Tending to the right amount of flame, the right amount of wood, the right amount of air quality, airflow. Tending to, loving, and bringing balance to all parts of your being and soul. Because you deserve it. Thank you, universe. Thank you, God. Thank you, creation. And thank you for supporting yourself. Even if by just simply showing up for your own breath for just a moment. I sincerely hope this week brings you balance, peace, and equilibrium. May you find a state of balance that serves all parts of you in the proper amounts. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, and so it is. that felt really, really nice. So thank you for being a part of that. Thank you, all of you that are here, whether it's on time or late. There is no such thing as being late here. Just replying to the comments, you are here exactly when you are supposed to be, in the condition that you are supposed to be here in, okay? You know, and if you're not able to make it here to like this live time, maybe there's a reason why. And maybe it's not quite the space for you to be in at that very moment for whatever reason. Totally get that. Totally, yeah. So, yeah. Rounding out Virgo season here, the last few days, moving into Libra season, moving into that moment of balance, coming through the opposition between Sun and Neptune, coming out of everything that we went through the summertime, moving towards what is coming towards us in the fall, or from the winter into the spring if you're in the southern hemisphere, and finding that place of balance in between. Eclipse shift, the nodes of the moon have shifted, and now we are going to start to see eclipses where Aries and Libra are within our own charts. We have been seeing eclipses where Taurus and Scorpio are in our chart. So now it's going to be in a different areas of our life, of our chart, of our path. So that brings changes. So that brings I was going to say upheavals. That was the word that first came to mind, but it's not always bad. It brings changes, and it brings, it's like quick left turn, quick right turn. It's like a sign that's like, nope, you're going this way. Shortcut down this hall rather than going straight and all the way around. Yeah. Seeing comments of feeling calm, cool. Feel like I need to listen to some good old Pink Floyd. Yeah. I have a couple Pink Floyd songs on my, my personal meditation. Actually, I think what my playlist is called Songs for Consciousness or something like that. And I have a couple Pink Floyd songs on there. Yeah. So thank you, all of you, for being here. As always, I appreciate any capacity that you are able to be here. It supports not only myself and this live event on the internet, but it supports every single person that participates in this, because when we are all doing this together, even though we are nowhere near each other and it's a virtual thing, that energy comes through and it creates a circle, and it's really, really, really wonderful. So yeah, you can look for a new intention next Sunday. Facebook page, Instagram page, YouTube page, meditativeastrology.com. Those are all the places you can look for an intention. And I will see you next Tuesday. So, yeah, that's it. I hope you all have a great night, great day, great week, and happy equinox, happy Libra season, happy end of Virgo season, happy days. Mwah. Have a good one. Bye.